We're going to go ahead and get started. So hello and welcome to this program of the University of Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center. We are so pleased to be able to bring you these educational programs that help support small businesses. Please be advised that we are recording the workshop for ASBTDC educational purposes. I will introduce Lori Lieblong momentarily. In the meantime, hello, I am Amy Robinson and I'm a consultant with ASBTDC. I'd like to introduce my fellow consultant, Chris Case. She's our co-host today. And we have some of our fellow consultants and specialists on here with us today because in addition to being here to support you, we learn just as much as you do through these programs. The ASBTDC is a one-stop shop for startups and existing small businesses. We are affiliated with a statewide ASBTDC as well as a national network of more than 1,000 small business centers. Locally, we offer one-on-one consulting and workshops like this one, covering the relevant topics for business owners. And if you're not already a client, we encourage you to visit us at sbtdc.uark.edu. We'll give you some more contact information at the end of today's workshop. Today, we are bringing you Developing Your Brand and Marketing Strategy with Lori Lieblong of ASBTDC in Northwest Arkansas. This is a workshop format, and we are going to keep it as close to our in-person workshop as possible. So get your coffee, settle in. You are welcome to keep your video on. You are welcome to interact with us and ask questions as if we were with you in person. The thing that will be slightly different is having to navigate technology. As a workshop, we encourage questions as we go along. Lori will be pausing along the way for questions and we will prompt you as well. We would love for you to put your questions in chat at any time. We will be monitoring those throughout the program, Chris and I will. And when Lori pauses for questions or there's a prompt, if you unmute, we will see your video square light up, even if you're off of video. You can also raise your hand if you click down in the participant box. So if you haven't been zoomed out yet, then you know how all of this works. At all other times, please keep your volume on mute so that all of the rapid typing that you're doing while taking the notes will not be distracting to others. So now let's say hello to Lori. Lori, will you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your specialty area with ASBTDC?
Yes, my name is Lori. I'm going to go ahead and do the screen share. I think this will do it. Okay, so my name is Lori Lieblong. I have been with the center for almost 5 years now, and I spent about 10 years prior to this working for large companies in marketing. So that is where I learned all of this marketing and brand strategy. And so for the past 5 years, I have been helping small business clients with brand and marketing strategy. This is my passion in marketing. I help with a variety of different things at the ASBTDC with business consulting, helping people write business plans, put together financial projections, and a variety of different things to help people prepare for funding, getting started, helping existing small businesses navigate a lot of different issues. But brand and marketing strategy is my passion, and I guess some people would consider that a specialty. It's what I did for a number of years in the corporate world, and that's where I learned this strategic approach to managing brands and marketing. This did not come from Lori Lieblong University. I was taught this by some craft food executives working early in my career, and have used this in other companies working in the consumer products industry, and then brought this to my small business clients. So I've used this with startups, people that are opening new businesses, wrapping this methodology into business plans, and then also working with existing small businesses. So throughout this presentation, I'm going to reference a former experience I had working in a large corporation, as well as use a case study, which is what you'll see in the slides, with a small business client of mine that I worked with here at the center. He saw some great results with his existing business, and so I thought I'd use him as an example, since most of our audience here today are small businesses, and I now work with small business clients. So I felt like that was the most relevant example to use in our seminar today. So you'll have kind of two examples, and we'll hopefully get this information. My contact information is at the end of the slides. I hope you will call me. In my experience working in the corporate world, this process takes more than just a day or two. It can happen over the course of weeks. You work with multiple ad agencies. I've been able to do this with clients over the course of 1, 2, 3 meetings, working just the two of us, and then they've been able to execute on their own successfully. So it doesn't necessarily take a team of multiple people and ad agencies to successfully do this. We can get it done. It does take a lot of thought and a strategic approach. So my hope is that you'll walk away with this, understanding the importance of taking a strategic look at your brand and your business, and that you'll call me and that we'll get together and try to do this. If you don't want to do it on your own, I think it's better to put 2 or 3 heads against any idea versus just one and doing things in a vacuum. So we'll go ahead and get started. So what exactly is brand strategy? It is a rigorous and principled approach that takes your business idea to a marketable brand that enables you to create focused efforts targeting your most valuable consumers. So what does that mean? It's a rigorous and principled approach. This is a methodology. This is a way of taking a business idea to a marketable brand. This is a process. I think that's what's important to think about. This isn't just creating a logo. I get clients come to me and they say, I've got a business idea. I've already put together a logo. I've got some ideas for a Facebook post. What's important for you to understand is there's a process to go through. And at the end of this, it talks about focused efforts and your most valued customers. Good brand strategy is rooted in the customer. I like to use my dad as an example because he's a great example of a good retiree. He's retired, comfortably retired. He plays golf, he travels, he goes to the lake, he's got his hobbies, he's pretty active. You wouldn't advertise on TikTok for him, right? Because he's not doing that. He's on Facebook, he's got his tablet of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. So that's what he's doing. And good brand positioning enables you to really think through what you're doing and create marketable programs. So you're not going to do anything on TikTok if you're thinking about Bill Lieblong, who plays golf and has his Arkansas Democrat-Gazette as his method for getting information. When I worked in the corporate world, the example that I'm going to use is I worked on a national drugstore chain working for a vitamin manufacturer. We found through research that our customers were buying their health and beauty products in our national drugstore chain. So they were getting their shampoo, conditioner, mascara, and blush at our national drugstore chain. And then they're also buying specialty vitamins at GNC, Vitamin Shop, and Vitamin World. So when I say specialty vitamins, these were organic, 100% natural, preservative-free vitamins. So they were making 2 trips to buy vitamins and then buy their health and beauty products. So we thought, okay, what's the way to grow incremental sales in our store? Let's launch a line of vitamins with those particular attributes and gain sales from those customers who are already in the store and are buying specialty vitamins. And so we did just that. I tell you that example now because we're going to use it throughout this presentation, along with the small business client who's actually in the slides. Those are the 2 examples that I'll go through. So it all starts with brand positioning, which is what you're going to do first. It is the first step in brand strategy is understanding brand positioning and starting with a positioning statement. So what is the role of brand positioning in brand strategy? It establishes who we are and what we want to be in our brand. It identifies the way we want consumers to think about our brand in the context of other similar products. It creates an enduring, sustainable, competitive advantage. And what is most important is that we are consistent with our brand positioning in our strategies and tactics. So I use that example again with my dad, who is 68, retired, has his Arkansas Democrat-Gazette tablet for getting his information, plays golf. We don't want to advertise him through TikTok. We had those specialty vitamins that had those special healthy attributes. We wouldn't do a co-promotion with Coca-Cola Classic or Cheetos, would we? No, because that consumer is health conscious. They're probably eating all organic foods. We're not going to do an in-store promotion with Coca-Cola Classic. So that's really important when you think about your brand and your brand's position, is that you are doing and executing tactics that are consistent with your brand's positioning. So the positioning statement format is really simple. The complicated part is comes into play with each component, which I'm going to describe in detail throughout the presentation, and use examples from our case study, which is our small business client, and also from the vitamin example in this national drugstore chain. But the positioning statement itself is not very complicated. It's simply to the target customer. X is the brand of frame of reference, that the point of difference, because the reason to believe, delivers, so that the consumer advantage. So it's pretty simple, and I'm going to go through those specific format definitions. The next part is our case study, Chad Maupin of Big Bot Design. So he was a graphic designer who owned a graphic design company who sometimes acted as a creative director. So that's kind of a leadership role in an agency, who had a specialty in illustrative creative design. So he found himself bogged down a lot doing $200 logos and wanted to get away from that. He also had a side business doing selling his illustrative art on his website and in trade shows. We felt like that really complicated his business, which he wanted to grow. He wanted to get more access to medium-sized businesses. He had done some work with municipalities. He wanted to do more of that and felt like that was where opportunities really presented itself. So he came to us and said, help me get out of these $200 logos and get me to doing the business that I want to do. I'm bogged down and I'm not making as much money as I want to make. So we set out to help him do that. And we used this methodology and this principled approach with him. And it was really effective. A few months after doing this work with him, he came back and said, I'm doing the work I want to do. I'm reaching the customers I want to reach. And I've been successful. And so that was really, really rewarding for me, because I had done this on a grand scale with teams and ad agencies, and to see it work one-on-one with a small business client was really rewarding, because it works. You know, it worked in the corporate world, but that's easy to see when you've got lots of heads together and ad agencies at your disposal. And lots of marketing dollars behind it. But when it's one-on-one and a one-man show, seeing that the process is effective, it really feels like, okay, it is the process that's effective. It's not teams of people and lots of ad dollars. So the first thing that you look at when you are working up your positioning statement is target customers. So target customers are not just demographics. It's not women 30 to 40. I can use that example because I am a woman between the ages of 30 to 40. I feel like if I describe myself, it's not offensive. So I can say women 30 to 40, but you describe target customers with attitudes and behaviors. So in the vitamin example, we chose women with high incomes that were heavily involved in the vitamin category. So these individuals were buying more than one vitamin. They were heavily involved in the category. So they bought a multivitamin, vitamin C for immune support, CLA for muscle support, calcium for bone support, turmeric for inflammation. So you see they were heavily involved or buying more than one supplement. They were into health and wellness and fitness. So they exercise 6 times a week, for example. They go to the doctor every time they're sick, or for preventative care. Those are some examples of the way that we looked at that customer. You usually reflect insights about the consumer. We knew that this customer was buying their healthy and beauty products at our store, but they were buying specialty vitamins somewhere else. That was the insight we had about this consumer. We also knew that they may include primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers. So this is important to understand. For some niche products like this vitamin, we had one singular customer. This was a specialty line of products. So we just had one target consumer, the consumer that I just described. For some products or services or brand, you might have more than one customer group, a primary, secondary, or tertiary. Your marketing efforts and your sales are going to come in that order from those groups of consumers. So your primary customer or primary consumer represents the largest chunk of your sales. Your secondary consumer represents the second chunk of your sales and your second marketing efforts. Your tertiary customer is going to be that fringe consumer that represents the lesser part of your sales and where you're going to spend a little bit of your marketing efforts. So it just depends on the brand and the product, depending on how many target customers you have and where you spend your marketing efforts, but you need to look at it like that. So some brands may have 1, 2, some may have 3. I would stay away from more than 3 target customers, but you can have up to 3. Frame of reference or Big Bot Designs consumer groups were medium-sized customers with the need for specialty services and potentially the need for a creative design, specialty illustrative design, and the need for a creative director. So we described Big Bot Designs target customers by organization type and specific service need. So medium-sized businesses, that's what he wanted to do. He felt like large businesses, he didn't have the capacity to meet their needs because he was a one-man shop. And he has a unique specialty illustration style. We're going to look at his website when we get down to tactics and plans at the end of the presentation, and you'll see his style. It's really unique. There are a lot of businesses. Some of you are probably from Northwest Arkansas in Fayetteville and have been downtown to Savoy Tea Company. I'm a big fan of one of their black teas and drink it regularly. That's a business that uses illustrative design, and that's not his style. He's got a very specific style, which you'll see. So he was looking for customers that had a specific illustrative style. So looking at medium-sized businesses with a specialty illustrative style, and he likes doing the creative, the kind of outsourced creative director work. So he wanted to look at businesses that might need that, understanding that a lot of businesses don't. So it was a hope for, but not necessarily. Secondary to that were municipalities that were looking for a special type of illustrative design and potentially creative director work. He had done some work for municipalities, the city of Bentonville specifically, and wanted to do that again. So that was his secondary target. And then his tertiary target, this was something that we came up together that I mentioned to him, were full service agencies that did not have illustrators on staff. We felt like that might be an opportunity for him to capture some additional revenue. So he could get contract hired by full service agencies that did not have illustrators on staff who had clients that might need his work. So we felt like that was another tertiary group of consumers that he could potentially target. So the next component of a positioning statement is the frame of reference. So the frame of reference identifies the competitive landscape and says, what business are you in? So I am a small business consultant in Northwest Arkansas. So Amy mentioned we are a statewide organization and we have consultants throughout the state of Arkansas. I am limited to Northwest Arkansas. Now that's not to say as an organization, if somebody in Little Rock or somebody at one of our other organizations wanted to do this process with one of their clients, they couldn't call me and I couldn't help out. As an organization, we probably would be okay with that. But when people make calls in through the state, if they live in Northwest Arkansas, they are referred to our center. I worked in the CPG industry, but I am not a CPG consultant. I work for the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center, helping small businesses. I am a generalist, although this is my passion and this is what I do. And if our clients come in and want help with marketing strategy, I will help them with this. I also help people write business plans. This gets baked into it, but I am a small business consultant. I am not a Walmart vendor consultant. If somebody comes in with a small business and they want to get business into Walmart, I can probably help them with that because I've worked for Walmart vendors, but I have a client that is a Walmart vendor consultant. So I've defined my competitive landscape as a small business consultant. Big Bot Designs frame of reference was he was a graphic design agency. We wanted to give him a wide competitive landscape so that he could compete widely with other graphic design agencies. The next component of the positioning statement is the point of difference. This is the single most persuasive reason to buy a product or service. It's unique to the brand, product, or service. And the goal is to find a feature or benefit that distinguishes you from your competition that's valuable to your customers. That's critically important. It's different from your customers and it's valuable to it's different from your competition and it's valuable to your customers. If it's invaluable to your customers, then it's really not important. You want to determine your areas of competitive superiority, can be mainstream or niche. In his case, it was niche. He's got a specialty in illustrative design. In the case of the vitamins, because they were 100% natural, organic, and gluten-free, preservative-free, that was pretty niche as well. The fact that they could be found at this national drugstore chain made them fairly niche as well. The fact that it made these people's lives a little bit easier because they could make a special trip and just get everything all at once was also kind of a niche differentiator. It may be acceptable to preemptively own the category benefit. So for Big Bot Design, the point of difference was that he had specialty illustrative services. And like I said, when we get to his website, you'll see how he's a little bit different from, say, Savoy Tea Company. He's got a really unique style that fits with certain brands. The point of difference for that vitamin company is for those customers that were buying their shampoo, conditioner, hairspray, mascara, and lipstick, but they were going to GNC for their vitamins. They didn't have to go to GNC anymore. They could go buy their hairspray, buy their specialty vitamins, stop on their way home at Ozark Natural Foods and get whatever they were going to have for dinner, get home early, do their yoga video, and save 45 minutes out of their day from having to stop at GNC, and their life was simpler and they could stay healthy. That makes a difference in someone's life. Reasons to believe. These are the facts that support your claim of your point of difference. So consumers rarely take things at face value anymore from brands. They have to have facts to support the argument or the case that a brand is making to say that it's better and unique and different from its competition. You can't just make a claim that you're better. So for these vitamins, by saying we were healthy and making life easier and a special trip, we had to say, well, we're sold exclusively at this national drugstore chain. We had to say we were 100% natural. We had to say we were preservative free, and had to say that we were organic and prove that by label claims and ingredient listings and all of that. And it's really important to think these through. If you don't have facts to support your point of difference, you don't really have that point of difference. I'm working with a client right now who's trying to do some positioning work, and we're kind of working back and forth. They want to make a point of difference, and I'm saying, okay, well, you're going to have to go find the facts to support that. And they're finding, okay, can't really say that. And I'm like, okay, that's not your point of difference. We need to rethink this strategy. If you don't have the facts to support that argument, it's not your point of difference. So for Big Bot, we decided his points of difference were his years in graphic design. So for any service provider, and you guys probably know this if you've hired attorneys or CPAs, years of experience really matter. Chad had been in graphic design for 25 years. I'm not really sure exactly what his cost structure is. I can't remember. But if it's by the hour or by the project for a service provider, somebody who's been doing it for 25 years is going to do it much better than somebody who's been doing it for 2. He can sit down with a client and know what questions to ask about their brand, about their customers, about their service offering, about their own point of difference and reasons to believe, and the promises they're making to customers, and quickly get out of a client what they want from their advertising material or their piece of graphic design. And go back and work on that and be able to quickly turn something around because he understands the brand more quickly because he's been doing it for 25 years. Somebody that's been doing it for 2 may not know which questions to ask and may have to come back 3 or 4 different times to deliver on the ask for a client. So his years of experience, we felt like was a really strong reason to believe in his claims that he could offer specialty illustrative design. His unique design itself was a reason to believe that he offered specialty services. And so when you see his website, you'll see that we showed a lot of his work on his website because it demonstrates that he's got a unique style and a real talent. It fits well with a lot of different brands and doesn't fit well with some other brands. Savoy Tea Company is an example. I actually asked him in one of our meetings because I've got little tin cans of it in my desk, and I pulled it out. I was like, so could you do this? And he's like, I could. It's just not what I would do. It's not really one of the brands that I would work on because it's not really my style. And he's like, I could. I mean, I could do it, but it's not really the thing that I would do. And so even as an illustrator, you have certain types of style. So we said like his specialty in design service is what he can do. And then because he enjoyed the creative director work, we also made that a fact that we wanted to call out in his advertising. So the points that we wanted to make was that he had experience working in all areas of the design process from beginning to end, so that he could get work doing that kind of stand-in or contract hire creative director, knowing that there's not a lot of work doing that out there. It's not often that companies are hiring creative directors on a contract basis. The consumer advantage is what the point of difference enables a consumer to really get in terms of the end result. So for the vitamins, the consumer could live a healthier lifestyle more simply. I can get all my healthy vitamins all in one special trip, like I said, and get home more quickly, do my yoga, and have a special dinner. Live life simpler and healthier at the same time. So for Big Bot Design, his point of difference was that I could get my unique specialty illustrative design services by using Big Bot Design. So that is brand positioning. You see there are several components to it. Each one requires a lot of thought. We have valuable market research. I don't know if any of you have worked with the center before and have tapped into it, but I utilize that marketing research a lot to help people define their competitive, their consumer segments. We use a lot of it to define the competitive landscape, looking at industry research. And so that's really valuable, especially in identifying customer segments. Because we have consumer segmentation study for the geography. And so that's really, really valuable. So if for no other reason to work with us, I would suggest that because it really helps you hone in on that. Does anybody have any questions on brand positioning before we move into marketing strategy?
Yes, definitely. We would love to get your questions. And again, you are welcome to kind of unmute and let us know. You've got target customers, you've got point of difference, you've got consumer advantage. All of those are really big topics to dig into. And I love, Lori, this case study approach, because it really kind of brings it down to day to day. But I bet we have a lot of businesses here. So please let us know if you have a question. You're welcome to ask yourself. You're welcome to put it into the chat. We do have, so just let us know if you have a question. There is a question in the chat, Lori. Does brand positioning normally happen during the process of building your business plan?
Yes, I bake this into my business plan. So we have a standard template that the center uses, that I use with all of my clients. Even if somebody comes in with a business plan that they found online, I have the same template that I've used that I send to all of our banks, that I have all of my clients use, and it's got a market section that I wrap this into. So we have a separate meeting that is strictly dedicated to this. Sometimes it takes 1 to 2 meetings to go through the marketing strategy, and then we have another meeting that gets to the marketing initiatives and tactics, which we'll go through in the rest of the presentation. But the idea is to get you from strategy out to, like, you're going to do Facebook and you're going to do Facebook posts or Facebook advertising to get you all the way through the process. And it starts with a positioning statement and get you all the way through to whether or not you're going to do Facebook or Instagram. And you'll see this as we go through the presentation. But yes, I wrap this into my business plan.
Fantastic. And we have a great, another great follow-up question, which is around COVID-19. And I think that this also, you can speak to this from a marketing, our marketing report strategy as well, have the demographics and attitudes and behaviors that ASBTDC have been updated into take into account the COVID-19 behavior. And at the state level, I think we do have somebody that has let us know that that is being taken into account. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we've been doing, some of our secondary research has been updated with COVID-19 data, and then we've done some primary research on specific industries in the area with COVID-19 data. So we're kind of handling that client by client, but we do have updated information on COVID-19 that's industry specific. So it's just a matter of giving us a call and we can take a look at your business and what information we can find out. But we do have updated COVID-19 information. So I would encourage anybody that's looking for that to reach out to the center and we can find out. The last update was in May, but I think there's probably even newer data now.
Fantastic. Do we have any other questions at this point? Again, you're welcome to ask the question yourself. If you unmute or ahem, you will pop to the top and we'll be able to see you and hear you if you want to ask the question yourself. Otherwise, you're welcome to keep putting your questions in the chat and we will monitor those. And if you think of something just kind of in the middle of this, I know everyone is probably rapidly taking notes, Lori. And again, I'm going to answer that yes, you will be shared this presentation. If we do not see your full name on the screen, please private message Julie Preddy and just let her know your full name so that we can make sure we match that with registration. And then you will get an email with both the PowerPoint and the recording. Lori, do you want to go on to the next? Because you've got a lot of information to cover and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, so just let me get us there. Okay. So after you've got your positioning statement, and which is basically your brand strategy, once you've got that solidified, so that's something we do pretty much in a meeting. That usually takes a meeting and some market research. Once we've got that solidified, then we can move on to the marketing strategy piece. So marketing strategy really ladders up to the business objective. So a business objective is to increase sales or increase profit or increase share. So that's usually what people come in and walk in the door with. Like Chad did, he wanted to increase sales. Or what in the vitamin example, they wanted to grow sales in the health and wellness category. They wanted to do that by growing incremental sales in the vitamin category and so on and so forth. And that's how we led into this new product launch with these niche vitamins. So it all starts with a business objective. And then from there, you have a marketing objective. Some examples. So the marketing objective is the desired effect on consumer behavior that will allow you to reach that business objective. We're all here at the end of the day to do something for our business that allows us to either put food on the table, take a vacation, or whatever it is you want to do with your money. It's not about making fun advertising or Facebook posts. It's about feeding yourself, taking vacations, or whatever you do with your money. And all of this is ultimately a way to make that happen. So we're all aware of that when we're going through this process, that this is a means to an end. So the marketing objective is a desired effect on consumer behavior to make that happen. Some examples of marketing objectives are to raise awareness, which is the case for all new businesses, is to raise awareness, change frequency of purchase or increase frequency of purchase, increase repeat purchase. So you see that a lot with like loyalty cards, increase usage, increase share of purchase. So the marketing challenge is the change in the consumer behavior or belief you need to happen in order to help you achieve your marketing objective. So for Big Bot Design, we wanted to raise awareness about Big Bot Design Agency. And our marketing challenge was people did not know that Big Bot Design was an illustrative graphic design company that offered unique illustrative design. So once you have your marketing objective and marketing challenge solidified, and it's really important to figure this out because it is going to drive what you do for your marketing. So I mentioned that about loyalty cards. So somebody has to already be coming in the door for you to give them some kind of repeat purchase value, right? So they're not going to come into the door if they don't know you exist. So let's say all you're doing are loyalty cards, and you're not telling people you exist, and they don't know you exist. It's ineffective, right? Does that make sense? I can't, in a regular seminar, I would have nodding heads. So I'm still talking like I have nodding heads, but we're all virtual because it's COVID. But I'm pretending that there's nodding heads out there. I'm still talking like there's nodding heads. This reminds me of the YouTube yoga person that I have that talks to me like she's in the room with me. Anyway, I'm pretending that you're all nodding heads and you understand. Okay, so once the marketing objective and challenge have been solidified and everybody feels good and comfortable with that, you can move on to key initiatives. And these are the key business strategies you'll employ to help you reach your business objectives. So some examples are digital, traditional, philanthropic, networking. The key initiatives that we employed for the vitamin business were digital, in-store, and new products. So those were the key initiatives we had for that launch. For Big Bot Design, we launched digital, networking, and traditional key initiatives. So once you have once you've established your key initiative, and what's important to understand is that the key initiatives are the high level. You're thinking at the high level, what's going to help you reach these objectives. You think first at the high level. We don't jump from marketing objective and challenge to Facebook post content. We think, are we going to do digital? Does digital make sense for us? Do we, like if I go back up to Big Bot Design key initiatives, we decided on digital, networking, and traditional as his key initiatives. He doesn't have a store, so there's no in-store. Like for the National Drugstore chain, we did have in-store as a key initiative because we did have in-store, we did have a drugstore chain, for example, and had found through other product launches that in-store promotion was an effective tool. We knew that that was effective. If we had done, and we had looked back at other programs that we had launched in that national drugstore chain and found that in-store promotion was ineffective, like people don't really care once they get in the store, they're going to buy what they buy, we would not have launched in-store promotions, but found out that that was an effective tool. We get down to tactical planning and then we say, okay, what kind of in-store promotion is most effective? And that's where we get into the details. So in the vitamin example, we did little videos about the products where we talked about the product attributes, like 100% natural, organic, preservative free. What does that mean? We had a whole campaign around what you put into your body matters. We had little shelf talkers that were 100% natural, organic, preservative free. We had all of the branding. We also did price promotion, which is really common in that category. So we did buy one, get one 50% off. As far as digital, we did email marketing. We did co-promotion with health and beauty products. So then we're getting into the tactics. So for Big Bot, like I said, we did digital, networking, and traditional forms of marketing for his key initiatives. This gets us down to his tactics and plans. And this is an example of his, what a marketing tactical plan would look like, just the high level plan. Now understand that each component in this plan would have its own document or its own media plan. I've got social media tactics. We used Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then Google is a separate digital tactic. but you would have a social media calendar, for example. He did a website refresh. We're going to look at his website, but he did a website refresh. That was a separate tactic. He had a separate social media plan. He did Google advertising. For his traditional tactic, he went to trade shows. He would have a separate calendar and document laying out what he was going to bring to trade shows, what he planned to do and show in trade shows. Then we also talked about networking. He was going to do research and find the municipalities, the medium-sized businesses, and the agencies that he felt like he had the most potential to do business with. So brands that were illustrated and were similar to his style of illustration, and full service agencies that did not appear to have illustrators on staff. And he was going to do cold calling. That was our recommendation. Get in there with a portfolio and see what you can do. Perhaps it's a LinkedIn message to get in and meet with their creative director or their chief marketing officer of an organization and meet and show his portfolio. We suggested that as a tactic. These were all things that were going to be affordable since he was a one-man shop. We had to come up with tactics that weren't going to cost a small fortune. We chose Instagram as a means for him to get his visual, his illustrative work out. And so we talked all through these, and these tactics were effective for him. And so that's really what we did. So now that we've talked about key initiatives and tactics and plans, before I show his website, does anybody have any questions about how that all ladders up to strategy, objectives, strategies, and moves into initiatives and plans? Does everybody see how the connection to brand positioning, objective, challenge, and initiatives and tactics and plans, how that kind of comes together?
Yes, we love any of your questions. Now we'll also have a little bit of time at the end, but we definitely don't want to miss anybody. You're also welcome to put in the chat kind of what industry you're in. It looks like we have somebody in the greeting card industry, which is amazing. And that was the question about the COVID relevance and some of those things. So we would love to get your questions. Asking about if the templates for the tactics and the plans are available, or if that's something that they just contact you for, Lori.
Yeah, you can contact me. I mean, I could send what I've put together here. I don't have a template per se that I've put together, but I could certainly work with someone to come up with something if I needed to.
Well, another very relevant industry that we have here is healthcare. And also a grant consultant. So those are definitely some hot industries right now. And retail mailing center and business services. I think that one of the things that you're mentioning here, Lori, is the fact that, you know, a lot of this is customized, and that's a lot of the one-on-one consulting that we do at the ASBTDC in working with you, especially with all these. We've got a vodka distillery. Amen. Where are you? We're typing your address. Another really good industry right now. Food service, janitorial and sanitation industry. Fantastic. We love having all of you here. I hope that you're getting a lot of dog colognes. Fantastic. Wow. That looks like two businesses with
one great variety. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So why don't we go ahead and continue to put these industries in. Lori, why don't we go ahead and finish up, and then we can just open up to some very specific questions if people have them about their own businesses.
Yeah, well, I just want the big takeaway here to make sure people understand is that how the dots all connect, because what's important is that you start with step one with the positioning and follow through the process and get to each piece, because it all starts with strategy and it goes through to each piece. So let me get
gonna show us a little something. BigBot's a great client to use as a process that you went through with the ASBTDC. And we've got we've got another graphic designer. So this is very, very relevant for you right now. And that's wonderful. Love to be relevant. And the ASBTDC does a lot with a lot of different industries. Oh, love Big Bot. They are so cool.
Yeah, so this is his website. So you can see this is like an example of some of his work. So it's really unique. And he talks right at the outset about illustration and graphic design. So you can tell from the very beginning that he's an illustrator. Then he shows some of his work. You can see from the very get-go, he talks about Bentonville, Eureka Springs, some brands that he's worked on. So you can see that he's done some work for them, some cities. Talks again about illustration. Talks about the breadth of his work. So he works with branding, print, merchandise, showcasing the fact that he can work across a variety of different industries. But this just shows that, like, you know, he really wants illustrative work, and you can see from the very first get-go on his website the kind of illustration he does. And like I had said about Savoy Tea Company, you can quickly see this is not Savoy Tea Company at all. It's really different, and there's a lot of similarities in the work that he's done. Let's see about. So he talks about seamlessly integrating skilled illustration with versatile graphic design. Again, he talks about illustration and how he has a sketchbook. It's really clear that it's sketch. He also talks here about how he's managed art departments in the process of taking a design from the initial concept to a finished process for decades. Here he's talking about his experience and the fact that he managed art departments in the process of taking a design from the initial concept to a finished product. That speaks to his ability to act as a creative director. So my point in showing all of this to you is where we go from positioning, like we talked about his reasons to believe and his point of difference and the illustration and the creative director and the work that he wanted to do. This is a tactic, it's a website, and this is how we're bringing that to life. I'm pointing at my screen, I'm gesturing. I worked in New York, so I like to gesture a lot. So this is how that's coming to life in a tactic, is what he's talking about here, is how he's conveying that he has the ability to do that creative director work. All these images and words about his illustration convey that he's an illustrator, and that specific type of illustration is the work that he does. So he talks here again about many of my clients use me as an outsourced creative director. My goal is to give you all the tools you need to make your creative work something to brag about. So again, he's saying he has the ability to do creative director work. So that's an example of, remember, we talked in his business when we just, in the case study, we just talked about his business problem. We talked about his reasons to believe. Here it is coming to life in a creative tactic. Had we not had these conversations, had we not really talked strategy, had we not talked reasons to believe, he would have put together a website, and I don't recall exactly what it looked like when he first came to me, because he totally redesigned it after the conversations that we had, but it didn't include any of this. It was just some pictures, his contact information, some examples of his work, but it didn't clearly convey that he did illustrative work, the specific style of illustrative work. It had nothing about the creative director work that he wanted to do. And so by doing the strategy work, by talking to him about the business he wanted to get, by showing the specific types of work that he had done, it really conveyed the work that he wanted to get. And so he's got some testimonials here from businesses that he had worked with, so you can kind of get an idea of some of the businesses that he'd worked with. And then again, here you've got the brand, so you can see the cities that he worked with and the brands that he worked with as well. So that's just an example of a tactic coming to life, whether it's a Facebook post or a magazine ad or a website or signage or a logo. It all starts with the positioning, and then there's a separate process you go through to get to a website that's not covered in this seminar that I do with my clients. It would require its own separate seminar. that initiates the creative design process, but it all stems from that brand positioning and the strategy work. But all the dots should be connected and start with all that strategy work. You're thinking about your target customer. You're thinking about what you want your brand to convey, who your target, like I said, who your target customer is, what you want your brand to convey, what business you're in. But it all starts with that. You don't start with the website. You start thinking about all that strategy first. Then you get to the website and you see something that really portrays what you want to portray. And he saw legitimate results in his business by going through this process. Like, he would not have thought to go with a portfolio of his illustrative work, to seek out meetings with prospect businesses that he thought he could get. When we talked about his social channels, he wasn't doing really anything on social. We talked about doing that. I think maybe he had a Facebook page. He wasn't doing anything on Instagram, which is a really great channel for visual work. And so that was really good. He had already done all the work he was really going to be able to effectively do in Northwest Arkansas. He felt like, he was like, I really feel like I've kind of tapped what I'm going to get. Like, I might get repeat work from existing brands, but I don't know that I'm going to get new businesses out of Northwest Arkansas. So one of his goals was to get nationwide work. So we're like, okay, you're going to have to go social. You have to do some social media work, and it has to be good. And then he was going to have to seek businesses outside of Northwest Arkansas. So that's when we were like, okay, you got to make this list. You got to come up with some nationwide brands, and you've got to get meetings, and you've got to get your work in front of some of these other brands, because he's got this really niche type of illustrative work that, like, Savoy Tea Company needs an illustrator. This is not Savoy Tea Company. So he really needed to go nationwide. So he needed a great digital presence. So that's why we chose that initiative, and then some of the tactics, the social tactics. And then he needed to show visually through social and his website the kind of work that he was able to do, because he really needed to tap into a nationwide market. So that is how all of this kind of flows together. And I will open it up now for questions.
Yes, we definitely would love to have your questions. One of the things I love, Lori, about this is that, and again, we will be sending everybody the presentation and the record in the, this video. What it also sounds to me like is that you really help people talk through it. Sometimes, as an entrepreneur, sometimes I need a sounding board. I know Chris and I talk about this all the time. Like, sometimes you just need to get it out of your head. He knew that he was an illustrator, right? But he didn't have that anywhere. And being able to say that to you out loud and kind of help you funnel. It's just kind of like writing your own bio or your own resume. It's really hard to talk about yourself sometimes. And so as an entrepreneur, bragging and getting all of that kind of stuff, whittled down to its essence, and also the keywords. What is going to hit the market? What is going to resonate with somebody out? And even as far as SEO, like, what are people going to be Googling? So we really want to take your questions. So you're welcome to unmute. And if you do, you'll just kind of bubble up to the top. You're also welcome, because we have so many people here. Put things in the chat. Just put your question there, or ask us to speak to a specific industry that you're in. We'd love to hear from you. So we just have a few more minutes left, and we could fill the air with all kinds of stuff, but we really want to hear from you. So if anybody has anything, please, Lori is here. She's available to you. Have anybody yet? Okay.
No question.
How about you, Chris? Do you have any questions?
I could listen to Lori talk all day long, and I learned something every time we've heard her talk. I don't know how many times, and every time I feel like it's just a new wealth of information. So, no, just I'm getting smarter.
Fantastic. Well, Lori, why don't you go ahead and share the closing screen with your information on it, and so we can make sure that everybody knows where to find you. I'll remind everybody that ASBTDC, we're affiliated with the University of Arkansas. All of our services, Lori, if you can believe it, is doing this for free for you. Of course, get paid by the university, but we're doing it free for you. It is a free service, and these are free presentations. So we love having you here, and we love being able to continue to be part of your world and being able to support you. There's a lot of customization that goes on when it comes to what we do with you and for you. We would love for all of you. Oh, we have a question. We do from Jerusha. Go ahead and unmute and tell us what you've got. Oh, look, there you go. What advice would you give to someone getting into an industry with no prior experience?
Research. Just do your research. Find as much as you can about the consumers and the industry and your competition. Like, that's your starting point. Like, know as much about your customers and your competition in the industry as you can. Like,
well, and I'll just pop into there and say, give you a call.
Yes, call us because we can help you with that. Like, data, actually give you data. I mean, for free that you would otherwise have to pay for. So call us, one. But what I would tell you when you called me was like, we're going to start with research. Don't do anything at all until we do some research to figure out if you even want to be in the industry.
Exactly. So, oh, that is so true. That is so true. I love that. Anyone else? A last minute question for Lori? Fantastic. Well, we have all the contact information up here. Oh, there we go. Thank you all very much. Yes, we appreciate you. And you're welcome to our phone numbers up there, the sbtdc.uark.edu. You can become a client. We want to thank you all again for being here. As an attendee of the workshop, you will be emailed a copy of the presentation and video. We'll also be giving you a brief survey, and this will help us continue to serve you and bring you quality programs. You will also find a full listing of the workshops at the website, which you can find at ASBTDC.uark.edu. I'm going to say that 7 times fast, and then sign up for notifications or become a client. We are also posting on social media, so maybe you found us there today. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So stay in touch, and we will see you next time. Thank you again so much, Lori. We really appreciate you. We'll see you again soon.